Hey guys, so today I'm going to do another which shoe for you comparison video, and I'm doing it between two of the recent Chinese shoes that I purchased. They're the two that I had the most miles in. First, I have the very first one I bought, which was the Hare 8 Pro, and the second shoe I have is the XTEP 2000km version 5. The shoes actually have quite a bit of similarity. Ning is a big sportswear brand out of China, founded by Ning, who is a gymnast that won like 5 medals in the 1984 Olympics. He was called the Prince of Gymnastics. He went to business school afterwards and then started the Ning sportswear company. I think they started with kind of lower end goods, but they have definitely upped their game. They're big in making basketball shoes. They've got several NBA players that now wear their shoes, and I think they make some quite good running shoes now. The Hare 8 Pro I bought, I think I got it for like $57, $62 with shipping and tax, so really cheap. They've now come out with a Hare 9 Pro, so the 8 Pro is a little bit cheaper, but the shoes have gone up in price a bit. The 9 Pro is probably about 90 bucks, and they're now even selling it. I bought them off of AliExpress to begin with, but they're now selling and usually have just as good a price on Amazon for the Ning shoes. So anyway, and then the 8 Pro I think you can get now for around $70 to $75, something like that. It's a little bit more than I paid, but anyway, they have been very good shoes. Pretty nice. It was hard finding the specs, but through multiple sources, I think they're probably something like 36 in the heel, 28 in the forefoot with an 8mm drop. They do have a TPU shank for stability in the center of the shoe. They use what they call their boom foam, which as best I can tell is a beaded PIBA foam. Very nice ride, very comfortable and good bounce to it. I would say the shoes have a pretty sharp toe spring, pretty sharply rockered in the front. They do feel fast underfoot. I use them as a daily trainer. Ning also makes a number of race shoes that have carbon fiber plates. I would probably put these toward the top end of their daily trainers. They do sell a few that have more cushion, so if you want a higher cushion shoe, those would be good training shoes without a plate. Anyway, have really enjoyed it. I have over 220 miles in them. They have been very solid. I can definitely pick up the pace. They still feel comfortable at a slow pace. I've really enjoyed them. The one sort of negative I've had, and most people I've watched have been really happy with the grip and the durability of the outsole rubber. They use a different rubber they call it their GCR or ground control rubber. For me, the grip has been very good on the road in these shoes. However, I have managed to wear through the outsole on the heel where I tend to scrape and I heel strike some. So I've added shoe goo first time around 120 miles and I get about 170, and they're really needing it now at about mile 220. And I'll probably go ahead and add it, but I have recently ordered the Hare 9 Pro just because I wanted to do a comparison with what they've done in the new version of the shoe. So I'm not sure I'm going to get that many more miles on my 8 Pro. But the biggest thing I can see they've done to the 9 Pro is they've widened it a little bit, which will actually make it more friendly for a lot of Western feet. These are they're not bad, fairly wide up in the forefoot, not topo or ultra wide, but fairly wide. I kind of have a medium width foot, and they're fine for me. They are pretty narrow through the midfoot though, which has been okay for me, but it is going to be too narrow for a lot of people. But now that in the new 9 Pro, they've widened it, and especially in both the heel and a little bit in the forefoot, but a good bit through that midfoot. So I think that'll help it fit a lot more people's feet in the West. In my case, one limitation they had is getting bigger sizes in a lot of the Asian brands is difficult. They had size 11 and then they had size 12. They didn't have an 11.5, which is normally what I wear. So I bought a 12, and it has worked out fine for me. As you can see, the shoes taper in quite a bit in the toe area, but since I got them in a 12, they're pretty long. That taper in doesn't bother me at all. So I have found them extremely comfortable. They've worked well. The boom foam, the PIBA foam, doesn't seem to have lost any life so far. The only negative I have is that I've been wearing through the rubber a bit on the outsole. Okay, so I'm comparing it to the XTEP 2000km version 5. It's a shoe. XTEP is a bit smaller running shoe brand, but they're known as being a serious brand in China. They have produced race shoes that have been used by several Asian champions. Their 2000km series is where they claim that the shoes will last 2000 kilometers, or like 1,200 miles. I'm not sure I really buy that, but I can definitely tell why they're probably going to be pretty durable. They're very similar to the Ning Red Hare 8 Pro in stack height, as best I can tell. They don't give the exact stack height on their website. They do tell you it's a 7mm drop, and they say 29 in the heel, 22 in the forefoot, but they're not including the insole or the outsole. I think if you add that, you're probably coming in at like 35.28 or 34.27. So very similar to the Red Hare 8 Pro. They also use like a nylon shank in them. It's a little smaller for stability that they put in them, but I think it does good with these softer foams to give it a little bit of stability. It's not so stiff that the shoe doesn't have some torsion, but it definitely cuts down on making the shoe too flexible. What they're using in this shoe is an ATPU foam, which is one of the newer foams. It's supposed to give a somewhat similar bounce to PIBA, but it's supposed to even be longer lasting. So it makes sense in a 2,000km shoe that they would be using ATPU. Their outsole rubber, they're actually using they call a marathon grade. It's CPU, but they're putting it in, it's at least 2mm thick everywhere and 3mm thick in the high wear areas. So that's part of where they're coming up with the claim that this thing is going to last so long. And I can say I'm close to 100 miles in and I can see just about nowhere on the outsole, which for me and the way I scrape heels is pretty amazing. Like I said, I was adding shoe goo to the Red Hare 8 Pros from Ning at 120 miles, so that is impressive. They probably will last longer. As far as the ride goes, the XTEP 2000km version 5 was extremely firm and stiff the first 10 miles or so. It is a shoe that breaks in though. I didn't really enjoy my first 2 runs, but since the 3rd run, they felt pretty good. I really enjoyed it, and I would even say up to mile 50, they were getting softer and softer. And actually underfoot now, walking in them, I think they're a little bit softer feeling than the Red Hare 8s from Ning. As far as bounciness goes, I would give the benefit to the Red Hare 8 Pro. I think that PIBA foam is still a little bit more energetic than the ATPU of the XTEP. But the XTEP still has enough rebound that you're not sinking down in the foam that far, and it definitely bounces back enough so you can pick up the pace in it. I find it a little more comfortable just to go easier paces in it, but you definitely could pick up the pace in the XTEP. I didn't know which size to go. I went with the size 12. They only had 11 or 12 again. I think in these, I probably could have gone with the 11 because I've got quite a bit of toe. And they also round the toe more, so you're not going to get that cut in that's more likely to cause an issue with your toes. So I think they're a little bit more wide foot friendly than the Red Hare 8 Pros in general. Both shoes use a single layer mesh upper. I would say the upper is a little bit softer in the Red Hare 8 Pro, but they're both pretty breathable and comfortable. I didn't have trouble with lock-in in either shoe. They both locked in well. I do think the faster of the 2 shoes is probably the Red Hare 8 Pro. I think that PIBA is a little bit more energetic, but they both have decent rebound, and I am excited. I think the XTEP is going to last longer. So they're just both good shoes in my daily rotation. Anyway, that's kind of my comparison. I think they're both good shoes. The XTEP I paid about $67, $72 with shipping, but I have seen them cheaper where you could probably get it on AliExpress at times for maybe $55 with shipping included. So it definitely right now is running a bit cheaper than the Red Hare 8 Pro. Like I said, it's not probably quite as fast a shoe, but I think it's going to last more miles. So it's kind of a trade-off. And in those, XTEP. They actually sell a 2,000 kilometer version 5 Pro version, and it is somewhat similar to the ones that I have, but it has a slightly wider forefoot. Slightly wider build, so it's even going to be more accommodative to more people. It does use a PIBA midsole, so it'll hopefully be similar in energy return to the Red Hare 8 Pro, and it'll have a gusseted tongue, which neither one of these have gusseted tongues, but they really, both of them, neither one have much trouble with the tongue staying in place, so I don't really find it an issue. Oh, and the Pro version actually has glow-in-the-dark laces, which is kind of cool. These have some reflective material along them, so they will reflect if cars hit them at night, which I think is a nice little extra bonus. But anyway, I think they're definitely good deals for the money. But just thought I'd give my opinion, give you my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in any more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And keep moving.